Everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, we've seen the Flambeau tackle box, and I did a review of that we got for our trout panfish and ice fishing, essentially all the smaller ones. So, in my search to find a larger tackle box for our bass items, most of them that I found were essentially like glorified duffel bags with like trays in them, and they were really expensive. And I'm not saying that they're not nice, but I'm thinking, well, if that's all there is to it, then I can make my own at a fraction of the price. And so I picked up this for $3.97. This is Ozark Trails 3700 tackle box. It says up to 24 adjustable, removable compartments, dual hinge locking system. Made in the USA, factory certified. And essentially, all those tackle boxes that I found just had a big duffel bag, essentially, with these trays in it. And so I was like, well, I don't feel like paying a lot of money for that because, hey, when we get our gear packs and our SHTF boxes and stuff, we get bags. You know, I mean, shoot, last month we got a box of bags, essentially. So, kind of weird. So I picked this up, and we're going to see if this will do the trick we need for our bass. And so, to start this off, we do have our last month's, our first official bass mystery tackle box. So we're going to start implementing these into this, and we're going to see how well this is going to function for us. Because a lot of you have these like compartments that are labeled A, B, and C, and it took me a while to find a box that had all of them. Now, am I going to use all of them? Probably not, but I would rather have the extra pieces here, so that when I buy more of them, if I need to, you know, if they're missing, then I'm good. And so there should be one C in here. A, B, A. Now, I know that there's a C. A. So you got one A, or you got one C, two B's, and a whole bunch of A's. And so, if you look inside here, right here, where you have this little narrow part here, that's where a C goes in. And so, you put your slide in. It's, you know, just your typical, customizable tray. So we're going to look at, and we're going to go through we're going to pull out our suspended jerkbait we got last month. And I got to give credit for this company. What is this? Team Arc, because they got a rubber band on there, so it's really good for. And so if we put this in here, we're going to notice that. It takes up 2 squares. So, all right. So then we take an A. So that means we don't need the B. No, we take a B. And we slide our B in. And now we have a compartment for our jerkbait. Now these are deep, so they're probably going to be stacked, a couple deep inside of here, so that we can actually, make the most use of this. And then the nice thing about this is as we get more baits, we can just add more trays. Because now we already have a lot of bass baits that we got for Monster Bass, but then here we have our Arsenal Champion Football Finesse Jig, and of course we have our Weed Protector large bass hook. Alright, so we're going to see here. And so, as you can see, it fits right here in this part right here. So, that's good. So So I think that this is going to do a good trick, a good job of getting our bass baits in here. Now then, we do have our packages of hooks, and I'm not really a fan of having like loose hooks just floating around. So we're just gonna twist that up there, and yeah, so it's gonna have, we're gonna have to figure out what to do with the hooks, because maybe, actually, you know what? We're gonna put an A in right here. And we'll see if this will. No, not gonna go. So the hooks, we're gonna have to figure out something for the hooks. So, but the nice thing about this is that, so the hooks, those are no go, and we have our soft baits. Now, I imagine that we could just put a couple soft baits up in the top, and we don't even really have to divide it up. You know, we can just shove the soft baits in there. But I'm thinking I'm gonna find a tray like this that has different size compartments, maybe at Harbor Freight or something, somewhere affordable, that we can use to actually customize. So we can have like hard baits in one, and then we can have like, even if we get like a smaller one of these, like we could get like a couple like different size that'll fit on here, like smaller ones, and we can put the hooks in that, you know, with like a larger compartment. So we're definitely gonna look into that. But I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this filled up. We do have this month's mystery tackle box. The bass is on its way. Well, it hasn't shipped yet, but they're putting the box together. So we're gonna start getting this put together here. We do have on this back in behind me here, we do have a lot of bass baits already put in here. So I can see these are gonna be a good addition, because they're gonna stack nicely. And so we just have to find the right bag to put these in, and that's essentially that's what I was finding. I was finding just these trays in a duffel bag, and so we just have to find the right size duffel bag to fit these, and we're gonna have ourselves a nice bass tackle box. So we're gonna put that together, and when I get all the components together for that, we're gonna go through the whole thing, go through all the lures that we have in there, and then we're gonna do a great job of putting it together a nice bass bag. And then the other thing I want to talk about is, because we'll come back to that. Let me put these suckers back in here. The dividers. Our dividers back in. I'm gonna be putting this together later on, so probably when I get home from work tonight, I'm gonna work on that a little bit, get that all put together. But another thing I picked up, because you know what, and it took me forever to realize. You know, when I was growing up as a kid, I saw these on the stores, and I was like, "What are those for?" You know, and now that I know, well, after I found out, I'm a huge. I definitely like these. These are Eagle Claw, but these are like floating snell hook dividers. And so we picked up a 24 pack, because the 24 pack was cheaper than picking up the individual packs. So. And these are Eagle Claw hooks. I got this, you know, just for the use of this. So if you are new to fishing, you know, if you're coming here, and if you are new, and you may have seen these things are fantastic. I don't know about you, but I am not a fan of loose hooks floating around in my tackle box where I can get, you know, stuck. And a lot of times they'll come in, you know, the cardboard will have like the dividers in there, and once you take them off, then they all start falling all to hell. So basically, this one is really good, because you got 6 sizes. You got 4 of each size. So for different size fishing. And again, I used to see these, and I'm like, well, what does it do? And if you're like me, you like never picked one up, but after I realized just how incredibly useful these things are, I love these. So basically, if you're not aware, you take the the pre-tied hook. You hook it over one of these white. Ooh, ouch. So you hook it over one of the white clips on the top. Then you come down, you pull it, and you hook it in these holes. And so it keeps your hooks really well organized. And I really love these things because these are just a great way. And usually it's like 2 hooks per hole. But these are a great way to keep your hooks organized. And especially, and if you're in a survival situation, this is a good way to store up to 20 hooks so that you are ready for any situation. But we're just going to go ahead and we're going to load most of these hooks on here. I'll probably be picking up some more of these. Again, like I said, when I was growing up, I saw these and no one explained to me what they did. I just had a tackle box full of loose hooks. And it was always a pain. But I really love these things. These, what are they called? They're actually called a floating snelled hook holder. And then basically you load it up, and then this can sit in like if you have like a large tray in your tackle box, you just put this in your tackle box, and your hooks are not going to get messed up. When you need a hook, you can find the right size hook. I believe these ones are. This one comes with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And this is the Eagle Claw bait holder hooks. These are for like worms and crickets and stuff like that. Chunk bait. But if you can get a 24 pack like this, you're going to save yourself some money because it literally for like 24 you paid like $1 more than what you would for 6. So really good way to get a lot of hooks at a really good price. And pick up one of these. This way you're able to keep your hooks all organized. And then that way, you just put in. It won't fit in these. It would be nice if it was fit in this box, but it won't. So, but again, with this system right here, I think we're going to be able to come up with a way to make a really good tackle box on our own and probably save a few bucks and actually get more space out of it. Because if you buy I think there was a Plano one and it came with like 4 trays about this size, plus a duffel bag for $50. Now it did have some pockets on the outside, but most duffel bags do. And so I think that we can come up with a really good alternative. Another else, I just noticed this, but up here it has a ruler, has a 12-inch ruler up here, and so like when you catch your fish, you can put it on your tackle box to measure it out. So, but yeah, so that's it for this Fishing Friday. Just some accessories. We're working on putting together our bass tackle box because now we are going into our bass mystery tackle boxes. We need to have we need to have a way to store and make those where it's like when we go out to fish, we have them where we need them. So we're going to work on the tackle box, and we're going to just start talking about some of the accessories that you might see when you're fishing. There's a couple of like the 137 piece fishing kits I'm going to start picking up, and we're going to start tearing those apart, see what's good, what's not good. Like I said, we did get that Arky one, and they have another Arky one that actually comes with a hard tray like this, and I think that it might fit on top of this way. And so that's something else to think about. You can start putting together you can customize your tackle box if you put it together piece by piece. Yeah, some people want to just buy it and have it done. And to be honest, if I could have found a much larger box like this, and I'm sure they have them out there, but where I live, they don't, because there's not really a lot of fishing in my area, and so it's you don't find a lot of stuff, so you got to make do with what you can get. So, but anyway, that's it for Fishing Friday. Just little fish talk. See what we're gonna do, with our bass items, and just we're gonna start talking about some of the accessories that you're gonna see at the stores, how to use them and what they're used for. So until next time, keep prepping.